Hi there, thanks for stopping by to check out this video on creating simple process flowcharts. So let's talk about when you might want to do this. Have you ever needed to explain how a process works? Have you ever lost your audience by overwhelming them with a bunch of text? Or maybe you've needed to document how a procedure works so you can improve it. Enter process flowcharts. Process flowcharts are visual diagrams of how something works at a glance. They're used for a multitude of purposes, such as workflow management, process improvement, programming, and even documentation. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a very simple process diagram with Microsoft Visio. Visio has a ton of features that make building flowcharts and other diagrams really easy. Now, I'm working in Visio 2016 Standard, but the steps I'm going to show you are pretty much the same across any of the more recent versions of Visio. So let's get started. First, let's get a look at the flowchart that I'm trying to create. I mapped out on a piece of paper just a simple sketch of something that I'd like to create in Visio. Now, obviously, this sketch needs a lot of help to become clear and legible. And this is what I created in Visio. Nothing too complicated at all, but it shows what I wanted to illustrate much more professionally. So let's walk through how I did this. I've already opened up a new Visio document and my page is showing. And I've also got over here on the left-hand side the basic flowcharts shape selected. This set of shapes contains several options, but we're really going to only be working with the process shape, decision shape, and the start and end shape. To get started, I'm going to click on the Start In shape and drag it to the page. Now, note it drops it right where I wanted it, but it doesn't have any text indicating what it is. For my purposes, I'm going to just make sure that the object is selected and then type RFI. After typing that, I'll just click outside of the object to deselect it and keep working. Now, we'll adjust font size later to make this more readable. Next, I'm going to add the first process element to the page and name it using the same steps that I just did. So I've got these two items and I want to add an arrow between them to connect them. To do this, I'm going to add a connector, which you select from the Home tab. As I hover over that first element, you can see whenever I'm close to a connecting point, it turns green. This means that I can add a connection to or from this point. So I'm going to start the connector from this point by hovering over it and then click and drag to where I want it to connect. By default, it's making this connection an arrow, but you can change the connection type to various other options by selecting the line options when the line is selected. I want to now add the rest of my elements, so I'm going to make sure that the pointer tool is selected and then continue adding each of my elements to the process flow. Okay, I've got all the items I want, and now I'm going to add all of my connecting arrows. Just like you can add text to a shape, you can also add it to a line. So for my diagram, I want to have yeses and nos coming out of my decision shapes, indicating which way a path might go. To do this, I'll just click the item to select it, making sure that that pointer tool is selected first. And then I'll just type in the text that I want. So now I've got all of the elements that I want, but of course I forgot one of them. No worries. let me just add it to the page. And then move it in between the objects where I want it. Now, notice when I hover the item over that line, it's showing those green connection handles, indicating where it will add new connectors with the item that I'm placing there. And after I let go of my mouse to drop it there, it will even move the items automatically once I release that mouse and place it. Okay, it's looking good, and now I can make a few more adjustments. The first thing I want to do is make the font size a little larger by selecting all, using Control A, and then changing the font size to increase it. Now, another tool that I use a lot is the Align tool. This is so that I can get items to line up in a particular way. It just adds to the professional touches to make it more readable and understandable by people. I use this most by selecting the items that I want to line up and then going to that tool and selecting the alignment that I prefer. Now, sometimes the Align tool won't give you the results that you're really looking for. You can always change things by continuing to move items around and then align them. Or if you make a mistake and the alignment that you select is really off, you can always undo it and try again. I use the Align tool a lot for many reasons. First, I almost never add things perfectly the first time. And second, because I use Visio for brainstorming and developing ideas a lot, these diagrams change often. So the Align tool is really useful if you want to play around with different ways of organizing the shapes or the diagram, adding and removing elements, and just in general giving things a clean look when you're done. So that's it. I've got a simple process flowchart that I can either take a screenshot of, copy and paste into Word, or even save as a PDF for people who don't have Visio. I hope you found this useful in getting started making your own process flowcharts in Visio. Thanks for watching.